Commerce, Science, and Transportation will come to order. Before we hear from our nominees, I would like to first acknowledge the tragedy that occurred last night at Louisville's International Airport after a UPS cargo plane crashed soon after takeoff, tragically resulting in the loss of at least 9 lives. I want to extend my deepest condolences to the families of the crew and others who lost their lives to this terrible accident. It is a reminder of the critical work this committee does to improve aviation safety, particularly this week with our 2 nominations hearings. Tomorrow's hearing will feature a nominee to serve as a board member of the National Transportation Safety Board. With that said, we will now proceed to the business before this committee and to hear from 3 nominees. Ryan McCormick, nominee to be the Undersecretary of Transportation for Policy. Daniel Edwards, nominee to be the Assistant Secretary of Transportation for Aviation and International Affairs. And Trent Morse, nominee to serve on the Board of Directors of the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority. Congratulations to each of you. All 3 of these nominees will contribute to making American transportation safe and efficient. Under the Biden-Buttigieg regime, the Department of Transportation diverted billions of dollars towards left-wing initiatives. For example, by requiring states and cities to address pointless DEI and environmental justice criteria when applying for infrastructure grants, or by squandering taxpayer money to the tune of $4 billion for California's dismal failure of a high-speed rail boondoggle, rather than investing that money in fixing outdated air traffic control systems and aging bridges. Today, Secretary Duffy is working hard to refocus the department on its core mission, advancing the safety, reliability, and efficiency of the U.S. transportation system. We will hear from nominees prepared to support Secretary Duffy's agenda. Let's begin with Mr. McCormick, who is nominated to serve as the Undersecretary of Transportation for Policy. He worked in numerous positions on Capitol Hill, including as legislative director for then Representative Sean Duffy. I'm not sure what happened to him after his congressional career. And as the chief of staff for Congressman Scott Fitzgerald. Mr. McCormick also held several senior roles at the Export-Import Bank during the first Trump administration. Currently, he is Deputy Chief of Staff for Secretary Duffy at DOT. Mr. McCormick's experiences in both the legislative and executive branches give him a deep institutional knowledge needed to address the 40,000 annual highway fatalities, to streamline project permitting, and to make America a world leader in advanced transportation technologies such as drones and autonomous vehicles. Next, we have Dan Edwards, who is nominated to be the Assistant Secretary of Transportation at the Office for Aviation and International Affairs. That office is responsible for promoting fair competition and enforcing international agreements. He is also the Associate Administrator for Airports at the FAA. Mr. Edwards' 30-year aviation career includes stints as a military pilot, a civil engineer, and in senior executive roles for several private aviation businesses. Since 2022, Mexico has been in violation of the U.S.-Mexico Open Skies Agreement. I look forward to hearing how Mr. Edwards will stand up for U.S. carriers, hold Mexico accountable, and promote robust competition. Finally, Mr. Morse has been nominated to serve as a member on the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority, known as MWA. He has served in multiple positions in the Trump administration, most recently as the Deputy Director for the Presidential Personnel Office. He also worked in the first Trump administration as a senior advisor at the Department of Transportation, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, and the Department of Health and Human Services. Currently, Mr. Morse serves on DOT's advisory board. I'm glad to see that Mr. Morse shares my disdain and that of millions of other flyers for the glacial tank-like people movers at Dulles. It sounds like we'll finally have a representative on the MWA board who cares about the actual experiences of passengers at Reagan and Dulles. Thank you to each of our nominees for joining us today, and I turn to Ranking Member Cantwell.